Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Jai Shri Ram, friends. Welcome back to my Vedic Astrology channel, Astro Satyajit on YouTube. And today, we are going to discuss something, uh, a very significant Raj Yoga, if I may say so, which has an overall impact in one's life. There are many Raj Yogas that we discuss in Vedic Astrology, and we tend to, have their impact or those yogas getting manifested at a particular time, or when the dasha periods are running. I'm not saying that Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga are not dependent on the Mahadasha or the Antardasha of that said planet, but otherwise, this gives you that edge over others, that you are destined, or rather, you have been, there is God's grace on you slightly more than when we compare to any other, I would say horoscope where a Panch Mahapurush yoga is not getting formed. So Panch Mahapurush, the moment I say Panch Mahapurush, we are talking about those, it tends to make you one of those known and big personalities in your chosen field of work. Okay. And again, if you are having the grace of a particular planet, see, Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga may be formed by any of the five planets in Vedic astrology. As we all understand, we talk about nine planets in Vedic astrology, and we refer to Rahu and Ketu as the shadow planets or the Chaya Grahas. Sun and Moon, they are counted as the luminaries in Vedic astrology. Yes, they are part of that nine planet scheme, and the remaining five, which are the planets. Okay. So either one of them can give you or can bless your chart with a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. Okay. It may be formed by the planet Mars. So it's called as Ruchak Mahapurush Raj Yoga. It may be formed by the planet Venus. Again, it is called as Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga. It can be formed by Mercury, which is called as Bhadra Mahapurush Raj Yoga. It may be formed by Jupiter, so it's Hamsa Namak Mahapurush Raj Yoga. Or it may be formed by Saturn, so it is Shash Namak Mahapurush Raj Yoga. So now what happens? What is, the importance of these Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas, if I have to say so? And today, believe me, friends, I thought, Namaskar, I thought that, I've been making a lot of videos which may be slightly advanced, and just to connect with a larger audience who may be interested in astrology. However, they might not have the initial or, intermediate level of understanding of astrology. For them, maybe my interactions, even if they think I am speaking sense, or even if they appreciate me sharing the knowledge and the learning that I have on Vedic astrology, maybe they still struggle to connect with me with respect to, the basic knowledge that they have about astrology. Because many of us might be not aware that what is a lagna, what is an ascendant, what is a rashi. So we might say rashi in Vedic astrology. Many of us may not be aware that wherever the natal moon is placed in your horoscope, that's called the rashi in Vedic astrology or in Jyotisha. So I picked up a topic today, which maybe people have spoken, and I'm not saying that Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga is something which has not been discussed earlier. But today I will try and give you not just the rules and how it is formed, but I will also tell you what gets activated, when does it gets activated, what are the do's and don'ts that we need to ensure so that we get the results of these Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas to the fullest. Okay. So before we begin, let me share my screen, and with an example horoscope, it will be easier. Let me open up. Okay. I'm just open up a chart, and let me show you. Maybe a couple of them are anyways getting formed in this, and I'll be explaining. Let's start with Mars. So let's see. I've just put up the current uh, Prashna Kundli. Okay. So this says 6th November 2025, and the current time, that is 8:35 p.m. This is not the Lagna. The Lagna rising is Gemini. I've just rotated the chart for me to show you how this Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga works. Any of the planets, be it Venus, be it Mars, be it Mercury, be it Saturn, or be it Jupiter. These are the 5 planets which can possibly make any of those Panch Mahapurush yogas in your respective horoscopes. For any of these 5 planets to make one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj yogas in your horoscope, the rule says, Parashar Rishi, if Mars is making a Ruchak Panch Mahapurush Raj yoga, how will it get formed in your horoscope? Mars has to be placed in its own Rashi. So either Mars will be placed in Scorpio in your native horoscope, in your natal horoscope, or Mars will be placed in Aries, and or Mars may be placed in Capricorn. So that means either the planet concerned, which is making one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj yogas, either it is in its own sign. So Mars has lordship of Scorpio, Mars has lordship of Aries. So Mars can be present either in Scorpio in your D1 chart, or Mars may be present in Aries in your D1 chart, or Mars may be present in Capricorn, Makar Rashi, because Mars gets exalted in Capricorn. If the planet, we are starting with Mars, if Mars is in Scorpio, if Mars is in Aries, or if Mars is in Capricorn, and if that happens to be the first house of your horoscope, that is ascendant, if it happens to be the fourth house of your horoscope, or the seventh house, or the 10th house. Now, when I said that I'm, trying to connect with the audience at large, and I'm not going to skip the basics. So this is a North Indian chart format, friends. In a North Indian chart format, this first block that you see, this first square, this first rhombus, this first diamond, if you can see, this is called the Lagna, the ascendant, or the first house of your horoscope, of your natal chart. If you open up your chart, this is the first house. Whichever the first house comes up, whatever is the Rashi in your first house, that becomes your ascendant. Okay? That becomes your ascendant. So Mars is the ascendant in this example because Mars has the lordship of Scorpio. We move anti-clockwise. The watch moves this way. We are moving in the North Indian chart format in astrology in this fashion. So if this is your first house, this becomes your second, this becomes your third, this is your fourth, this is your fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, this is your 10th house, this is your 11th house, this is your 12th house. These are the 12 houses in our horoscope. Okay. Now, if Mars happens to be either in Scorpio or in Aries or in Capricorn, that means either it is placed in its own Rashi or it is placed in the Rashi of exaltation. And if that coincides or matches with either of these houses, the first house of the horoscope, the fourth house of the horoscope, the seventh house of the horoscope, or the 10th house of the horoscope, then we will say it is making a Ruchak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. It is making a Raj Yoga by Mars becoming extremely significant in one's chart. Mars, being comfortably and very strongly placed in one's chart. And Mars will sure play a role in your overall personality or in your entire karma that you do in this janma. So Mars has a role to play, or Mars gives you that opportunity to become that renowned, that big personality in this lifetime. So the name says it all. It's a Panch Mahapurush. Mahapurush means a big personality, okay, larger than life kind of a person. Okay. Let me cover this topic. And I had, yesterday started, doing those, I would say, paid, I started the paid service, a one question service during my live sessions. So if anyone is interested, I am okay to take up their chart, and I am okay to answer that one particular question that they might ask me during this session. And it's a paid service for 510 rupees only. So you may use any UPI app and you may transfer that 510 rupees to my number, which is attached with UPI. That's 84710 77155. I've also just typed it in the chat window, in the live chat window. So anyone interested to avail that paid question service, it's 510 rupees per question. And I will right away in this live session, uh, you know, uh, put in your details that you will provide me, your birth details. We'll open up your chart and I will entertain one question per participant. So let me first continue with the Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. So I said for Mars, similarly, if I have to talk about Venus, Venus will create one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas, which is called Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga. If Venus is placed in Libra, or Venus is placed in Taurus, or Venus is placed in Pisces, because Venus has lordship over Libra, Tula Rashi. It has lordship over Vrishabha Rashi, that is Taurus, and Venus gets exalted in Pisces, that is Meen Rashi. So if Venus is in its own Rashi, Libra, Taurus, or in its Rashi of exaltation, that is Pisces, in your natal chart, in your D1 chart, and if that happens to be any of these four houses that I discussed, or I told you when we were discussing the Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga found by Mars, which is called Ruchak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, Ruchak Mahapurush Raj Yoga. Venus forms that Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga. If Venus happens to be in the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, or the 10th house, and the Rashi coinciding with any of these four houses, for Venus should be either Taurus or Libra or Pisces. It's absolutely simple. Okay. It's very simple. And when we say Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga is there in your chart, that talks about that the Venus qualities will be definitely, seen and very strongly reflected in your personality. Venus will have a huge role in this particular Janma. It will have a huge role to play in this lifetime. And Venus Mahadasha, Venus period, okay, or the Venus Antardashas will be those periods where, you know, those will be phases of transformation from you, from an ordinary to become something who is, extraordinary or above the ordinary level. Because again, I said this Mahapurush Yoga, the name says it, it definitely gives you that potential of, doing something, you know, beyond what otherwise, the ordinary or rather the world is doing. So these Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas are giving you a higher responsibility towards the society. There are certain contributions, and there is certain work or that you will do for the society at large. There has to be something that you'll be able to contribute for the society. Yes, it will give you name, it will give you fame, you know but a Mahapurush means uh, you are here to do something bigger. Okay. And you are here to give. It may be, uh, you may be a philanthropist and you are helping the needy through your money and wealth that you have been able to acquire through God's grace and your karma. You may be, giving gyan and your wisdom and knowledge to the world that you may have acquired through your learning, through your sadhana, through God's grace. So different planets will have different flavors. So Mars gives you the Martian qualities. Okay. So you will see they are those fighters. Okay. They're physically very strong. They can be those people who will do extremely well in the armed forces. They will be athletes, sports person. They will do extremely well in sports field. And Mars being the universal, uh, you know, significator of the first house, because Mars is the ascendant lord of the Kal Purush Kundli that starts with Aries. So Ruchak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, the one we discussed, the first one that gets formed through Mars being in Aries, Mars being either in Scorpio or Mars being in Capricorn. And if that happens to be one of these four houses, first, fourth, seventh, or 10th, then Mars not only can make you a sports personality, Mars can make you somebody who makes it really big, maybe in the real estate industry, because all the karak tattvas of Mars gets amplified in your life. Mars takes you to that armed forces, Mars takes you to sports, Mars can even make you shine in media, because the universal Lagna Lord is now extremely prominent, and it making a connection while Mahapurush Yoga is formed by Mars. If it getting beautifully connected through your to your Lagna Lord, to your 10th Lord, definitely it can give you huge fame. It can help you becoming a brand within your chosen field of work. Mars will have all those qualities and strengths if Ruchak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga is getting formed by Mars. Okay. Venus in Libra in the 11th house, it's a great placement. It's the 11th house Lord, which is placed in its own Rashi. And that means you are a Sagittarius ascendant, and hence Libra happens to be, your 11th house Lord. But today, the concept that I am taking you through is the Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas, and Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas are only formed when one of these Panch, that one of these five planets, are not only placed in their own Rashis or in their Rashis of exaltation, but they also coincide with either the first house of your horoscope, the fourth house of your horoscope, the seventh house of your horoscope, or the 10th house of your horoscope. A well placed Venus in the 11th may be a very good Dhan Yoga, but it doesn't qualifies for this Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga that is the topic for today. I'm doing really good. Thank you for asking. God bless you. Now, as I said, first we discussed Mars, and then I talked about Venus. So if now Venus is forming that Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, which is Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga. Venus, again, can give you multiple avenues. Venus is, the wealth karka. So this person, this individual will tend to have money coming in, at least at times when it is badly needed, for sure. There has to be other dhan yogas. Only one of these Panch Mahapurush Raj yogas might not be able to, give you a lot of wealth unless and until they somewhere are connected to the wealth giving houses, like the second house, the 11th house, maybe the fifth house. However, they still have the capacity to make you a Mahapurush in your field. So Venus will make you really compassionate, will give you that guru kind of a personality. So you are that advisor, you are that diplomat, you can be the guru, you can be great in adhyatma, in sadhana, because Venus, Shukracharya, we always think that it is only a planet which represents love, pleasure, vilasinta, romance, but Venus is beyond this. So Venus is not just, the luxury, comfort, and the good wine and the good dine, good women, good relationships, but Venus is sadhana. Venus is adhyatma. Venus is one key planet which can give us, which can connect us to that higher energy. So spiritual progress, or you getting evolved spiritually, being able to connect with that higher self, with that higher energy, divine energy. Venus has a huge role to play. So you can become an adhyatmic guru. You may be a very good astrologer with Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga. Because again, Venus, I told you, you have to understand the Karak Tattvas very clearly. And you can't limit it to only just the wealth Karka or money. See, Venus is having that Sanjeevani Vidya. Venus is having that connection of making the dead alive. We talked about Venus when we were talking about becoming a legend, leaving a legacy. I may request all my viewers, at least the new ones, please subscribe to my channel, and you can please check my videos in my playlist or in my channel Astro Satyajit, and definitely you will enjoy uh, learning, understanding the real Jyotisha through the interactions that I've been doing on a regular basis. You know, so coming back to Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga, because it has a connection with that eighth house, which is that journey, the life after death. Understand this. So Venus, or a strong Venus, can even take you towards adhyatmic side, the adhyatma, the spiritual, the occult. And Venus being a guru, okay, both Venus and Jupiter are the gurus in Vedic astrology, in Jyotisha. Jupiter is Dev Guru Brihaspati, so he's the guru of the gods. And Venus is Shukracharya, Asur Guru Shukracharya, so he's guru of the demons, okay, the Asuras. Now, when Venus is so strongly making an impact because of its placement either in Taurus or in Libra or in Pisces, that is Rashi of Venus's exaltation. And if they become one of these four cardinal houses, one of these four Vishnu sthans, first house, fourth house, seventh house, or 10th house, yes, Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga not only confers the beautiful things and the things of uh, comfort and luxury, or maybe vehicles, or you uh, enjoying really those luxury vehicles and all the good things, somewhere it gets attached to Venus. Okay, we might say a cell phone, a mobile phone is Mercury and Rahu. So it's a uh, communication device which runs through technology. So Mercury and Rahu are together while you're carrying a mobile phone with you. However, the moment you're carrying a iPhone or maybe that very expensive Android, okay, let's assume we are talking of mobile phones which are more than a lakh. So now Venus comes into. Venus gets added to that Mercury Rahu. When it was just a basic mobile phone, okay, you're using to communicate technology, and those sound waves are traveling, those electromagnetic waves are traveling, and it's a wireless technology working. So Rahu is there but can't be seen. Okay. So definitely in those wireless devices or where technology has been used, for sure Rahu will come in. And for a mobile phone, for sure it's Rahu and Mercury. But the moment we make it expensive one, you know, we put a very high brand value to it. We add a very expensive logo on that brand name. So I said maybe it's a very expensive Android or it's a expensive iPhone we are referring to. Then Venus comes in. So anything where you maybe just alcohol, maybe Saturn. Okay. Intoxication, yes, Rahu comes in. But if I say if alcohol is Saturn, Scotch or that single malt, along with Saturn, Venus gets added. So anything where, you know, the value, the worth of a certain thing is getting increased, okay, because of the quality. And yes, it comes with a price tag for sure. The price gets, it is more expensive when you're buying a single malt compared to just any other whiskey. So Venus gives you those comforts, luxury, but Venus also has a potential of giving you that opportunity to become a guru. Uh, you know, it allows you to get spiritually evolved. So that's Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga for you. Okay. Then we'll move to Bhadra Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. So if Bhadra Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga is to be formed, then Mercury, okay, now currently what I'll do is, though that yoga may not be there in the chart, or okay, in the chart of Bill Gates, we have the Bhadra Mahapurush Raj Yoga, okay. This is the chart of Bill Gates. This I've just pulled up for explaining one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas, okay. It is formed when Mercury is either in Gemini or Mercury is in Virgo. These are the two Rashis owned by Mercury, Mithun Rashi, which is Gemini, and Kanya Rashi, which is Virgo. And Virgo happens to be the Rashi of Mercury's exaltation also. So for Mercury, it can't be three Rashis. See, we discussed about Mars. So Mars can be placed in Aries, Mars can be placed in Scorpio, or Mars can be placed in Capricorn. And if they happen to be the first house, fourth house, seventh house, or 10th house, the Ruchak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga gets formed. Similarly, for Venus, we discussed either Venus is in Taurus, Vrishabha Rashi, Venus is in Libra, which is Tula Rashi, or Venus was in Pisces, that is Meena Rashi. Again, three Rashis, Venus is again getting, because the Rashi of exaltation is different than what Venus owns in your respective horoscope. And if they happen to be the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th, then Malabhyam Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga gets formed. In the case of Mercury, Mercury only gets two Rashis because there is no separate Rashi of exaltation for Mercury. It's Mercury gets exalted also in Virgo. It is Mercury's own Rashi as well as it's Mercury's Mool Trikon Rashi also. Okay. So Mercury will create a Bhadra Mahapurush Raj Yoga if Mercury is either in Gemini or in Virgo in your respective horoscope. And it happens to be any of these four houses. Again, as I said, if we are talking about Bhadra Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, so we are saying now the qualities of Mercury will get enhanced. The qualities of Mercury will have a say or a role in your overall life, in your personality. So that makes you a communication expert. That makes you that orator. That makes you a quick learner. That makes you maybe a great mathematician. Okay, so Mercury is speed, Mercury is intelligence, Mercury is our oratory skills, Mercury is communication, Mercury is publishing, okay, Mercury is writing. So all these things get added. So that means the moment you have a Bhadra Mahapurush Raj Yoga, you will have, I'm sorry, I think, yeah, I think my screen is okay. I just thought maybe the screens have changed. So as I said, so if you have this, just 1 second. Yeah, that's fine. So if you have Mercury being placed in either Gemini or Mercury being placed in Virgo, and if they happen to be any of these four cardinal houses, the Kendra Bhavas, the Vishnu Sthans, first, fourth, seventh, and tenth, then you have Bhadra Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. So the qualities of Mercury become extremely prominent. It's the Mercury qualities that you will display in your personality, and it will have a say in your overall karma, in your overall, in this particular janma, that will have a say, overall say, for sure. And I said it is about communication, it is about intelligence, it is about author, writing skills, it is about speed. Okay, Mercury is one planet. When it comes to speed, there's no one else but Mercury. Mercury in Greek, we call it as Mercedes. So now you can understand and relate why the vehicle, why the car named Mercedes, because they were trying to refer it to Mercury and they're saying that this is the speed. So if they want to say that it's a, you know, it just zooms. So that's why they named the car as Mercedes. So Mercedes is basically, in Greek language, we call Mercury as Mercedes. So anything to do with speed, anything to do with communication, anything to do with our oratory skills, anything to do with our writing skills, anything to do with our communication, okay? All that falls under the purview of Mercury. And see, these natural Karak Tattvas definitely will have a role to play. And we also have to look at which are the houses that Mercury owns in your respective horoscope while it is making one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, in the case of Mercury, which is Bhadra Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. So that means when I discussed about Ruchak Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga being formed by Mars, we discussed about Malabya Mahapurush Raj Yoga being formed by Venus. Now we are discussing Bhadra Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga formed by Mercury. Not only the natural Karak Tattvas of the planet become extremely prominent, but which house lordships that they have in your respective horoscope, they also have a role to play. And see, these five planets, which are forming one of these Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas, they have dual lordships. So they own two Rashis each. The 10 houses out of the 12 houses in your horoscope are owned by these five planets. So that means the flavor and the Karak Tattvas of both the houses will be there in your Janma, along with the natural Karak Tattva of that planet, if they are becoming that prominent and creating one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas. Then we come to Jupiter. So Jupiter, makes what? Jupiter makes Hansa Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. Okay, when we say Hamsa, so that's made through Jupiter. Now, when will Jupiter make Hamsa Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga? If Jupiter happens to be if Jupiter happens to be in its own Rashi, so I will just pull up, maybe uh, I'll share the screen again, and let me go to the natal chart, the current chart. Why? Because I did see Jupiter in its own in its Rashi of exaltation. So just look at here. If Jupiter is in Sagittarius, that is Dhanu Rashi, or if Jupiter is in Pisces, that is Meen Rashi, that these are the two Rashis Jupiter has lordships over, or if Jupiter is exalted and it's in Cancer, Karka Rashi, and if again it happens to be any of these four cardinal houses, first house, fourth house, seventh house, or 10th house, then the Hamsa Namak Mahapurush Raj Yoga gets formed. When Hans Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga gets formed, again, the Jupiter qualities will be very prominent in your personality. Jupiter will have a role to play in this Janma. And Jupiter is what? Jupiter is knowledge. Jupiter is wisdom. Jupiter is overall prosperity. Jupiter is wealth. Okay. Yes, the wealth karka is Venus. I understand, but uh, Jupiter is also karka of the houses, which gives us the money, which gives us wealth. Okay. So Jupiter is karka of those wealth giving houses. So definitely, and Jupiter is, the universal Bhagya Lord. So ninth house Lord, the of the Kalpurush Kundli is Jupiter. So divine grace, God's grace. Jupiter can also show abundance. So Jupiter, Hans Namak Mahapurush Raj Yoga again, not only will activate the Karak Tattvas of Jupiter, which is knowledge, wisdom, abundance, prosperity, but it will also have the Karak Tattvas of those two houses which Jupiter lords in your respective chart. Because as I said, all these five planets which are getting qualified maybe in your chart to give you one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas will have lordships of two houses for sure. And other than Mercury, all these planets have three Rashis, two Rashis which they own, and one additional Rashi where they get exalted. If any of these three zodiac signs or Rashis happen to fall in these four cardinal places, which is first, fourth, seventh, and 10th, then they qualify to be for a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga getting formed by that particular planet. Okay, definitely. Why not? Dipeshji, it's not about guts. Please understand, if Jupiter is in its own Rashi, as you said, you gave me an example, Jupiter is in Sagittarius. No worries. In that case, it's not about a challenge, but again, I'm just trying to take the audience uh, through the real Jyotish. And my intent is not to just give you global gyan and close these discussions. If you've been visiting my channel, I'm not sure if you have been to my channel earlier and if you have been part of the interactions that we have had in the past. But my objective is actually to share the real Jyotish with all of you. It is not to just merely give you gyan related to Jyotish and leave it there. I genuinely want people to understand and appreciate, and before they understand and appreciate, they have to have belief in this science. Okay, that's extremely imperative, and hence I will definitely take up the chart where you said, uh, I do face to face, or rather, I do personal consultations also. Amlan 963. And I also teach Vedic astrology. Right now, in these interactive sessions, I'm taking up topics and I'm trying to teach or talk about that particular aspect in Vedic astrology. And yes, I also do a paid service, a one question service while I am live on YouTube, which is 510 rupees per participant per question. And the number I've given in the chat for all, that if somebody wants to make a payment of 510 rupees through any of their UPI apps, the number is 84710 and that's a paid service. Otherwise, my consultations, you may separately visit my website astrosatyajit.com, or you may contact me on my WhatsApp number. You will find them in my video descriptions, both for for seeking consultations, personal consultations, or for joining my Vedic astrology batch where I teach Vedic astrology through Zoom classes. Okay, through Zoom. And Dipesh, we will definitely, I will answer that example where you quoted about Jupiter. Let me just take up the last one. Yes, if that's the case, definitely, Dipesh. Though that's not the intent, but if that gives somebody satisfaction, definitely, because these interactions I'm not doing to mint money. Okay, if I have to generate money, I'm anyways doing separate personal consultations for my clients, which are all paid consultations, and I charge 6,000 rupees for a 30-minute short reading. I charge 10,500 for a 1 hour life reading, and I charge 15,000 for a 2 hour life and soul path reading. So definitely my objective is not to make these 510 rupees during these live interactive videos. This is just kept for some of my viewers who genuinely want me to, their curiosity or their anxiety levels are high and they genuinely want just me to answer that one question for them. Hence, this service was started. Let me complete the one which I was referring to. And I'll again show you the chart of Bill Gates. Again, that Shash Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga of Saturn is not there in Bill Gates' horoscope because that happens to be the fifth house, because Bill Gates' ascendant is Gemini. I've just rotated this chart to explain that the Shash Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga getting formed by Saturn. I appreciate that, Dipesh. Let me just finish this and I'll take up your question. If Saturn happens to fall in Capricorn, Makara Rashi, or Saturn happens to fall in Aquarius, which is Kumbh Rashi, or if Saturn is exalted in Libra, that is Tula Rashi, and if those happen to be any of these, again, four cardinal houses, the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, or the 10th house, then Shash Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga is there in your chart. That again, increases the qualities of Saturn, the Saturn Karak Tattvas in your, I would say, overall personality, that mature personality. There may be slight amount of delays in things getting manifested in this Janma. However, they are for sure. There is no denial. These are available in those, charts of industrialists. Okay. Because again, Saturn is the metal karka, the iron, steel, all that. So these industries have these machines, have these, without Saturn that can't run. Then again, this is something which can be seen in leaders. Okay. It can be definitely in, industrialists, as I said, leaders, or somebody who will display that Saturn, the patience, the perseverance. Okay. And again, as I said, not only the Karak Tattvas of Saturn get enhanced, however, it will also depend on which are the houses that Saturn owns in your respective horoscope. So it will bring in the flavor of those houses also. Because again, as I said, other than Mercury, Saturn will also have three rashis where this yoga can get, you know, applicable. So either Saturn is in Makar Rashi, that is Capricorn, or Saturn is placed in Kumbh Rashi, that is Aquarius, or Saturn is placed in Tula Rashi, which is Libra. And if that happens to be one of these four houses, first, fourth, seventh, and tenth, then Shash Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga gets formed. Okay. Dipesh, as I said, and you gave me an example of Jupiter in Dhanu Lagna, and still, uh, you thought that maybe. So what we can doing is, and I'm not justifying the chart. I just was showing chart not of personalities to tell you what that Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga brought in into their lives. The objective was only to show you in my screen that which are the houses. And I said in the very beginning, because I tend to make certain top advanced videos on certain advanced topics. Today, the objective was to start with a simple topic and to explain them house wise, so that even the beginners who are astrology enthusiasts but may not be very clear with the basics, so they can also understand and relate to this video was the objective. Now, as you said, there is a particular chart you meant that I should pull up. So, Dipesh, I'm all ears. If you can just let me know the birth details, let me feed in and let me take it up or just explain you that maybe what's stopping that Jupiter to bless that particular individual, even if Hans Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga is there. If you can please share the exalted Jupiter is good. And exalted Jupiter, again, it depends which lordships Jupiter has in your chart. But if it is getting qualified for a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, that means if you have an exalted Jupiter in any of those four cardinal houses, again, it's a blessing. And please understand, more than Jupiter blessing the house where it gets placed, whichever house an exalted Jupiter will aspect, the fifth from it, the seventh from it, and the ninth from it, they are definitely getting blessed by that exalted Jupiter. So, okay, I have a detail here. And Dipesh, this is your chart. So I just feed in Dipesh only. So Deepepesh. And no, you only told me that you know someone whose Jupiter is in Lagna, and you said that it is not in agreement to whatever I was referring to. So I just thought if you have any example. So it's 23rd Feb 1983. Okay, so you have given me a different date of birth. Okay, it might have Jupiter in the Lagna. So I'm just saying unknown. Okay, the name is unknown. And it's 18th August 1972. Time is 4:55. Time is 4:55. I'm sorry, this is 4:55 p.m., so it's 16:55. Let me make it Maharashtra because you've given me a detail of Mumbai. So friends, Dipesh has given us the details. Okay. This is the detail that Dipesh has given us. And It's a Sagittarius ascendant, a Jupiter in the Lagna itself. So definitely it's a Hans Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. Now let's understand that why the person has not tasted the flavor yet. I hope, Dipesh, you're there with us. I said that Jupiter will have an overall impact, okay, on our personality. Jupiter will definitely play a role in this Janma by the virtue of being placed in either its one of its own Rashi, which is Sagittarius or Pisces or maybe Cancer. And if it happens to be one of these four houses, definitely the qualities of Jupiter will come in: knowledge, uh, wisdom, I would say prosperity, abundance, all that I talked about. And you will also appreciate you need to go through when did this native get married and when was this native was, acha, when was the first child born? No, I understand you're trying to test me. We'll come to that. However, please, all my other viewers, along with Dipesh, please understand for this Jupiter to show or to give fully, you know, what Jupiter is capable of giving, please understand you need to either have those favorable Mahadashas running. Those favorable Mahadashas definitely will have a Jupiter Antardasha where you will taste first time that how great Jupiter is. And if the Jatak or the individual is blessed to have the Jupiter Mahadasha coming in this Janma, then definitely they will appreciate that Jupiter quality or that Jupiter blessing in this Janma. Now just look at this. This Jatak who was born on 18th of August 1972 at 4:55 p.m. in Mumbai, Maharashtra, he gets to see his Jupiter Mahadasha only from March 2056 onwards. Now just imagine 2056. This person will be what? Almost like 56 plus 28. So we are saying at the age of 84, he gets to see his Jupiter Mahadasha. So first of all, this Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, which is getting formed by Jupiter, then definitely Jupiter flavor is not seen. And because you asked me this question, please understand, Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga is getting formed in the first 4th, 7th, and 10th. Jupiter is becoming very prominent. Jupiter will be able to give results. Those complete fruits will get manifested when you run Jupiter Mahadasha. The Jupiter Mahadasha is too late. I'm sorry. Because March 2056, the person will be, as I said, 84 years old. At that age of 84 to 100, I do not know what wonders will Jupiter be able to show. And right now, we are also not discussing the lifespan. So let's come to reality now. The person was born in Moon Mahadasha. Okay. The moon, oh, sorry, let me go back. The person was born in Mercury Mahadasha. Okay. Mercury Mahadasha. Because Mercury Mahadasha started in April 1971, which was there till, you know, March 1988. So March 1988, we are saying approximately till the age of 16, the Mercury Mahadasha was running. Now, Mercury is the 7th house lord, one of the Marakstan lords, and is the 10th house lord. Mercury is placed in the 8th house. Okay, so Mercury is activating the Karaktattvas of the 8th, which is struggles, which is transformation. Yes, Mercury may is getting connected to the second house also through its aspect, but Mercury is also hemmed or being, I would say afflicted by the Rahu Ketu axis any which ways. And Mercury has lordships of one of the Maraksthans and the 10th house. I'll not get into details of Kendra Adipati Dosh by just the virtue of Mercury being in the eighth house and Mercury being perturbed in the Rashi of Moon. Because if you understand certain Vedic why the Jupiter did not give you results is what I'm trying to tell my audience. So the Mercury Mahadasha cannot give you. Mercury is ill placed. It's in the eighth house. It's in a Rashi of Moon, which it just can't stand because Mercury is the illegitimate son of Moon. And the dispositor of Mercury, which is Moon, is also further debilitated in the chart. Please understand this. The Mercury is not having, any, I would say, positive qualities that it can shower on the person. Mercury Mahadasha, you can't see the flavor of that Jupiter, that Hans Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. I'm again leaving aside Ketu. Ketu also is opening up the eighth house, and again the dispositor being Moon is debilitated. Then we come under Venus. Okay. Venus again has lordships of again not great houses. It is the lord of the sixth house. Okay, Rog, Rin, Shatru, all the Shadripus, and it is Lord of the 11th. Now, people at times think that this is the Lord of gains only or Labsthan. Okay, this is Labsthan agreed, but this is also sixth from the sixth. 11th house is sixth from the sixth, again a negative planet. So that means even Venus Mahadasha couldn't have given you the flavor of Hans Namak Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, though this Venus is still far better than Mercury Ketu because it is getting directly aspected by Jupiter. So the first time when you saw some good things in your life was in your, if this is your chart, Dipesh, then you saw that for the first time in your Venus Mahadasha. Venus Mahadasha started in April 1995. Now, you asked me a question. When did this Jatak get married? Okay. Okay. So the Jatak, the first time the marriage could have triggered if there was a chance of early marriage. Let me understand that. Let me be very clear to you. Okay. There was always a chance of you getting married early in life. And that early time could have got triggered when we were in Venus Mercury. So anytime between 30th November 1997 to 22nd May 1998, it was one period which was very potent of you getting married. I repeat, that was between 30th November 1997 to 22nd May 1998. So the Jatak was, you know, very highly likely that he would have got married while he was when he just completed 25 years of age, because 1972 and 1997 makes you 21, 25. So please confirm me first of all, Dipesh, because when you go to the doctor, when you go to an astrologer, there has to be some belief, both of them have on each other, and there has to be certain, you know, checks, certain symptom checks that the doctor does before he or she prescribes you those medicines. So please be very clear, this whomsoever this chart belongs to, the person got married between November 1997 and May 1998 or not. That is in Venus Mahadasha, Venus Antardasha, and Mercury Pratyantardasha. I hope you're still with me. Venus, sorry, Dipesh, your question was when did this native get married? So I answered you. So please let the audience know. Don't say likely. So I said, again, I told in all my consultations, or rather in all my interactions, that there are multiple occasions where a person can get married. So either you get married as a social marriage, a formal marriage, or you get into a Gandharva Vibha where you get into, you do a Vibha with somebody where there is a union of two individuals. Okay. So the first time when the union of two individuals was there, the likelihood was between November 1997 and May 1998. Okay, because you can. Okay, great. If he didn't get married in Venus, Mercury, then the second time when he was supposed to get married, in Venus Jupiter again activates his one of the yogas of getting married. That is anytime after 31st May 2005 to 30th Jan 2008. And if we have to, again, see in this, I'm not correlating it with the Gochara because that also plays a role. But we can say Venus, Jupiter, Mercury. So March 2006, or rather this phase, we call it between 12th March 2006 to March 2007. So March 2006 to March 2007 is another period where he's likely to get it married. March 2006. And while you confirm me that, so guys, all others, please understand that while we were discussing Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga and we took this example of Jupiter being qualifying to make one of those Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas, you saw in the Dashakram, the Jatak has not been, still, he has not experienced any of those good yogas because if you see after Venus again, Sun was, one planet which could have shown him or which could have given him the flavor of this Jupiter. So when we saw, I would say Sun Jupiter, okay, Sun Jupiter came in 19th April 2017 to 5th Feb 2018. This was the first time when this person tasted that Jupiter blessing. Because now the fifth house Lord Sun, that Mahadasha was running. The Lagna Lord, the ascendant Lord Jupiter's Antardasha came, which is forming the Panch Mahapurush Hansa Namak Raj Yoga. Sun Jupiter had given him the first time that flavor of, I would say, a prominent Jupiter blessing your chart. Okay. And even post that, when the moon Mahadasha started, again, please understand. No, I'm not. While I'm answering, see, the objective is not to tell you what time you got married. इनकी marriage life तो अच्छी नहीं रही, नहीं. Again. No, prediction about what, Dipesh? We were talking about, you said that Jupiter has not given result, though Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga is there. I am trying to tell my audience that this Jupiter is not competent because all the yogas that all the dashas that the person is getting are the difficult ones. Again, the one of those most difficult 10-year periods. This person is mentally absolutely in a screwed up state currently. If it is your chart, you will understand this because you are going through the 8th Lord Mahadasha. Okay. And that 8th Lord is debilitated in the 12th house. The 8th Lord is afflicted by Ketu, by Mercury. Mercury and Ketu in the 8th, not a great placement. And if you are born in Mumbai, if it is your chart, and if you are not, and if you're still somewhere in and around Mumbai, these 10 years are horrible. Huh? I never said Sun is the 5th house Lord. I said it's the Bhagya Lord, the 9th house Lord. So the first time the person saw something good about Jupiter was when he was running Sun Jupiter. I referred to that period, the Sun Jupiter period, April 2017 to May 2018. But right now, this person is going through a very stressful, mentally stressful period. Uh, Again, Dipesh, here the objective is not to forcibly make you agree. All trine lords in the trine? So what? If all trine lords are in the trine, are you saying that that is all what we need? The right Mahadashas also have to run, right? We'll wait for that trine lord Mahadasha to come, which is Mars. That will come only in 2031, Dipesh. The fifth lord, strongly placed in the ninth house. I agree with the ninth house lord. The Lagna lord in the Lagna, no problems. But it has not allowed you to do anything big, anything extraordinary yet, if it is your chart, Dipesh. Because you have not been getting, okay? First of all, please confirm me, Dipesh, if it's your chart or if it is somebody else's chart. Because I definitely don't see Moon Saturn can be the best phase the person is going through. 1st July 2025 onwards, at least the next 2 or 3 years till Jan 2029, I see a very low period. Okay, no point. I appreciate you, Dipesh, you participating, and the objective is not to argue and not to win the argument. But I hope my audience understood that when we are looking at the Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas, please see that is that planet which is making that Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, okay, he or she having that dasha coming in his period or not, that Mahadasha is there in the Vimshotri Dasha Kram or not, okay. The Jupiter Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, making you, you know, somebody very prominent and significant in your chosen field of work. You becoming that big personality as somebody who's known in their field of work is not getting seen in this chart. Why? Again, I'm not taking away the qualities of of Jupiter, the wisdom, the knowledge. I said that will have an overall impact on your personality, no doubts about it. But the real Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga with Jupiter is blessing this individual in this particular Janma will really get realized when we are having Jupiter Antardashas in some positive Mahadashas, or we'll have to wait for the entire Jupiter Mahadasha to come. Now, so I will go back to that same logic. Let me share the screen once, sorry. So as I said, whenever you see the planets making a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, two things you will check. One, extremely important, you will check in what dignity is the planet in your Navamsha. Is it still holding one of its own Rashis? Is it still continuing to be in its Rashi of exaltation? I'm not even telling you to go to the Shashtiyamsha, it will become too technical, but at least in the Navamsha, it should be in a good dignity. Now, see, this person's Navamsha is Vargottam. It happens to be a Sagittarius ascendant only, even in the Navamsha. But the Jupiter is now in the sixth house. It's not a, it has not further improved. A Jupiter which is well placed in the Lagna has moved into the sixth house. Okay. So again, this Jupiter, then if we are looking at any planet which is qualifying, we have to definitely look in what dignity they are in our Navamsha. Okay. I appreciate that, Dipesh. So today we talked about the Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas that may be found by any of these five planets. And I said that either they are sitting in their own Rashis or Rashis of exaltation, and they happen to be the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th. And then please look at their in what dignity or in what Rashi are they in your respective Navamsha. And these Panch Mahapurush Raj Yogas become even more prominent if they are not just getting formed by your Lagna, but they are also getting formed by the Chandra Lagna. That means wherever your moon is placed, even if these four houses are occupied by one of those five planets and they happen to be their own signs or rashis of exaltation, definitely that particular planet's Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga gets applicable. And if while they are making the Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga and the Lagna Kundli, if you have moon also placed in one of these four houses, then those planets will also be in quadrants or in Kendra sthans from your natal moon. That will add, that will make that planet having more impact, and rather that Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga gets more amplified in strength because it is not only getting made in your Lagna Kundli, which is the basic rule, but it is also getting, continued and it in your Chandra Kundli. So at the Manas level also, those qualities are very strong. Those Karak Tattvas are very strongly embedded in your personality. And if you get to find them, and see another thing, when any of these planets are making a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, it will be again important for us to look, are they having lordships of those good houses or not? You might find a planet which is having lordships of one of the Trik houses and it is creating a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga. I'll give you an example. In the case of a Pisces ascendant, okay, you might have a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga because of an exalted Venus sitting in the Lagna. But you can't take away the reality that it is one of the Trik sthans, okay? The eighth house lordship is with Venus and the third house lordship is with Venus. Bhavat Bhavam concept, third house is eighth from the eighth. Both difficult houses. When that Venus is exalted in the Lagna, for a Pisces Lagna, this Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga getting formed by Venus, which is Malabbe Mahapurush Raj Yoga, is not a blessing. Okay? So I'm saying whenever you're looking at a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, please also look at the lordships or the lordship of that particular planet in your respective horoscope before you finally are, you know, talking about that is one of those blessings, or is it something that you need to be careful about? Because if the eighth house lord is strongly placed in the Lagna, and if it is not, and if the Lagna lord is not well placed in that respective chart, it can bring in a lot of struggles and difficulties to the native's life. Eighth house lord so strongly placed in the Lagna, with the Lagna lord depleted in strength somewhere in the chart, can show us a lot of struggles and difficulties. Then, so we look at their lordships or the houses that they own, and we also look at their dignities in the further divisional charts. We will not extend it beyond the Navamsha, but for sure you'll have to look at Navamsha. So you see, are they in their own Rashis in their Navamsha? Are they in their Rashis of exaltation, or at least are they in their friendly Rashis in the Navamsha? A planet which is making a Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, if in the Navamsha it is sitting in its Rashi of debilitation, you might not be able to manifest the qualities of that yoga in this lifetime. That's what I'm trying to explain. Okay. So, guys, we will halt or rather pause the discussion today because my whole intent was to take you through the Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga, the rules, how it gets formed, and what you need to be careful about before you predict or before you are talking about, the results getting manifested of that Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga in one's life. So, with that, I would request all my viewers to please, if you really like my videos, do like them, do like my videos, do share it with other astrology enthusiasts in different forums. If you have still not subscribed to my channel and you are one of those regular viewers, please do subscribe to my channel. Please help me and support me in expanding this family of Astro Satyajit on YouTube. And God bless you all. Jai Shri Ram, friends. Om Shri Ganesh.